Welcome to a new episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And today I'm talking about chaos magic. Maybe it's more than you think it is, and also not what you think it is. So I feel like in movies, culture, like Hollywood entertainment culture, we assume chaos magic is like dark, like and maybe evil, and really it's not. And I feel like we don't realize that there's so much chaos magic already going on. Like, I think there's a lot of self help that's kind of like new physics, self help, you know, alter your state of consciousness and manifest what you want. A lot of the fill in the blank law of attraction that gets a little bit more scientific is actually rooted in chaos magic. And so the chaos magic basically came out of ritual magic. And the people who decided to break away from ritual magic, they were looking at the ceremonies and they're like, these long winded ceremonies, these placation to the gods, all the candles and chanting and circumambulation around the circle 3 or 4 times and the knocking, 9 times for this to open this portal. Like all this maybe is unnecessary. Maybe we can strip away all the crap, all the extras, and get to the point. So, really, chaos magic, if you're truly embodying chaos magic, you're cutting out all the extras, all the frills, all the pageantry, all the extra stuff. And you're just really focusing on what you want and you go about getting it. So it doesn't really have to do with, uh, you know, becoming public enemy number one, being a challenging agent of change, being the bad guy, the rebel. It doesn't have to do that. But in reality, when you are willing to cut out the crap and get to the point, you will be perceived that way by others. So I've noticed that just naturally happens. So in a weird way, chaos magic is innovative, and it's really only innovative unless you learn magic. And so once you have magic under your belt, then you can, in a weird way, do advanced high chaos magic. So we have to understand, I don't know the exact word or a definition, but it's kind of like when the opposites simultaneously exist. When the answer is true, but just as much as the answer is true, that was misleading because it's also false at the exact same time. So, um, kind of that's what happens with chaos magic. In order to get really good at chaos magic, you have to break all the rules of so called magic. But you can't really break those rules or hack into the system unless you know magic pretty well. So I would say chaos magic isn't something you really just start with. You could have some beginner's luck with chaos magic, not knowing what you're doing and being free to the possibility that beginner's mind is actually what chaos magic was trying to get to. So, yes, you can start with no magical training and get some good results or great results with chaos magic. But then there's going to be a point in your journey, your self learning, that you're going to go, I would like to understand more. I would like to learn more about what it is that is working for me. And then you're going to be hitting the books. You're going to go, I want to really understand what magicians in the past knew that helped. So it's like you then have to go back and you have to learn. So it's like playing the piano by ear, but then, yeah, you might be good at it, but then you can become even better and more accomplished if you actually learn how to write and read music and learn the technical skills and the hand placements. And so you can have that raw talent, but then when you go get educated, then you put that together, you become at that professional level. It takes you beyond your limits. So, chaos magic and going beyond your limits is really what it's about. When we look at shamans, the definition of a shaman is someone with no limits. So we understand now that beliefs, these constructs of how the world is, how the universe works, in a weird way, needs to be thrown away. It needs to be disintegrated. So part of your magic in your beginning levels of initiation might be unbrainwashing yourself. So learn to brainwash yourself, to unbrainwash yourself. Um, so a lot of brainwashing is actually chaos magic, and it's been heavily used in marketing and media, and that all came out of chaos magic. If you really didn't know, hypnotism slash and brainwashing have been part of the magical arts probably since the Victorian era, where it's been formally put into it. Where would they? Before that, it was more beliefs and ritual of kind of like a religious nature, but then they really started understanding uh, altered states of consciousness way back when. And then it became more of the occult arts. Um, we're talking about traditional Western magic. So let's move in. So a lot has gone on in my little journey and what has come up with the different people I have been coaching and working with on the side as a spiritual coach slash magician is if someone comes from a religious background, um, it's really hard for them to actually do what they want or honor their negative feelings that they naturally feel when it goes against this programming that they have received that they might believe in. So sometimes it's the belief in karma. Well, won't there be a consequence? So one client, this lady is trying to magically protect herself from psychic vampires who she seems to meet in retail experiences. And then she's afraid to exert her own personal willpower, thinking there's going to be a karmic consequence for asserting her boundaries. And so a lot of people who have a religious background think if you stand up for yourself, you're practicing black magic. If you're they don't have an understanding, they don't have a baseline of where they began and someone else ends. You know, they're taught love, they're taught light, they're taught karma and consequence and earn your way to heaven. And so that they haven't understood that taking care of yourself and placing limits and boundaries, the Saturn principle, actually the devil card, which is misplaced in the tree of life, it should swap with the chariot, um, is what they need to learn. So they're actually, by the law of opposites, they're invoking adversaries to challenge their boundaries until they learn boundaries is self love. Being assertive and speaking your truth, unapologetically being you, is self love. And I notice that happens mostly with my women clients. And I have to look at the big picture and going generationally, Western women have been taught to be reliant on men. And so healing the dark energy of the goddess, becoming self reliant, and entering into the business world is a very new thing. But yes, every woman or person who wants to express that female side of them deserves to be honored and empowered and not feel shamed or guilty or feel like they're doing black magic when they assert their boundaries, when they're clear with their words and their thoughts. And so we see this conflict of interest, this inner battle going on within all of us. But for this video, it's that when we express mixed signals to others, like we're being overly friendly, people pleasing, kind, and really that's not what we want, we're inviting danger. When we really want to curse and hex people, but then we have a moral belief that we can't, we're crossing our own energies, we're blocking ourselves, we're in a moral dilemma. Moral dilemmas happen if you've adopted the moral beliefs of a society. So, moving on, like chaos magic really has nothing to do with morals, because I was going to make a video on creating your own code of conduct, creating your own uh, morality when it comes to magic. And in essence, you have to. And so you have to know who you are, or begin to know who you are. What do you want out of life? What are your values? What is important to you? What gives you meaning? What gives you pleasure? What do you put a high value on? Uh, so your morals, like your values, create truly should be values then beliefs, not beliefs then values. I know in Mormonism, which someone may get offended, beliefs become more important and the beliefs structure your value system. Really, your value system should be contemporary. What does the actual environment that you're in now subject you to? And what do you find valuable in this moment, in this time period? So, and what is the highest good in the environment that you're in now and who you are now with the knowledge that you have, doing your very best, being, which is everyone wants good, everyone wishes no harm. So your values come from that. So when you adopt a value system like a religion slash cult, those values might be 10 centuries old. They might not serve you here now in present time. And so there's a conflict in time of being present, of being who you are. So anyways, we'll move on. So my values, so you can sample values, you can sample belief systems, but then choose what actually works for you with your temperament, with your type of mind, with your type of body, with your capabilities, your inner resources, like what actually works. This is how you start to create your own code of morality on how you will move through the world, what you will choose to be offended by, how you will give your power away, and how you will reclaim that power. So, chaos magic, the rules, or how I define chaos magic. We kind of did this long introduction because we have to realize chaos magic is already everywhere. It's been so incorporated, a lot of people don't think about it. Just like Enochian magic has been so incorporated, we don't realize it. When you're casting a circle and you're invoking the 4 watchtowers, you have now automatically started to work into Enochian magic. When you didn't know exactly what you were calling to, yet you were doing it anyways, you were invoking chaos magic. Chaos magic number 1 is a mystery. So you're working with the force, you're working with a universe that is beyond your comprehension. Hence, it might create what we might call a psychological breakdown, chaos. You're being presented with something new into your mind, into your body, into your experience. You're at the edge of the limits of your known reality, and you're confronting an endlessness, that of unknown. So you're riding that edge. So because you really didn't know what the 4 watchtowers were, you've invoked chaos magic. And that's good, because just like electricity, we don't fully understand it, yet look what we can do Look how we work with it. So in chaos magic, we don't know what it is we're working with, but our goal is to make techniques, formulas, a process, work with our process, and get results. So it's more important in chaos magic to get your results, to be result oriented than to be knowledge oriented. Hence, chaos magic, there's a huge mystery there. You might be invoking the gods, but you don't go so far into maybe giving them names and attributes and domains where they live in a hierarchical scale. You just invoke the god for your purpose, and your goal is to achieve that result. If it gave you the result and it worked well and efficiently, you've performed chaos magic in a very good way. You don't, it's beyond your comprehension, yet you got the results. So you become a master of results in chaos magic. So that's why it becomes so powerful. You don't waste your time creating theories, creating a paradigm, creating a world map or a universal map. You know, you don't need a book of the dead. You don't need this whole process of life. You don't need to construct a reality to work in chaos magic. So that's why it should be effective. If it's not, give it up and go with something traditional. Okay. Number two, in how I define chaos magic, it's self-learning. Each time you practice something, you're practicing the art of the process to get the results. It doesn't matter what you use to get those results. But when you master that technique, it changes you. You learn, and then you perfect it, and it becomes a skill, and then it becomes automatic, and you've installed that. So because you've learned and grown, you've learned how to open maybe an angelic door, and now it's part of your reality. It changes you. You've gained an awareness. So you can't really go backwards from that. So you've evolved. So chaos magic is an evolving, evolutionary art. You become a better artist. You become a better meditator. You get better and more efficient at the technique. Um, so number two, there has to be an evolutionary journey going on, which is part of the effectiveness. And I would say 50% of your time, or maybe even 80% of your time, is on that self-development. But that development is through actually doing the work, doing the magic. So if you are more of a doer, you automatically get brownie points and you're more into chaos magic. Okay. Number three, um, in accordance with your will. It's not, so like in religion, it's God that wants you to be good. And it's God healing humanity. In a new age, we're all evolving together. We're going to bring light to planet Earth. We're going to raise the vibration and ascend. So you see there's like an agenda. There's this will being opposed on you. In chaos magic, you reverse it. So reversal magic is very much a part of chaos magic. It's my will. I choose. I impose my will on my environment and create change. Or I impose my will upon myself and I change myself to adapt to the environment to create the results that I want. And so it's very much my will versus thy will versus your will. So this is where it gets, I'm not here to please you, rebellious energy, stick it up your ass. And we see that with people flipping each other off as a new gesture of a positive hello or whatever. This rebellious energy through that lens, you're not exactly saying F you divine powers or F you someone else, but you're really saying no, my will. When it's all said and done, it's where I'm going. So it's a very self-empowering process. So, and you're not denied anything. In magic, there is no, it doesn't, you just go get what you want. It's not, I might be denied. Number four in, chaos magic, um, is this dissolving. There has to be a point. We're all conditioned to some degree. So part of your magic is devoted to the dissolving of all this programming, creating a blank slate, creating that open mind where anything is possible. Because in magic, anything is possible. If anything is possible, that means there's rules that break rules, because these rules kind of like beat out the old rules. So there's levels to playing the game. ABCs, one, two, threes, multiplication, division. Then we get into equations. Then once you get really good at it, it looks like you're breaking rules. You're just using higher rules. As you start to really understand the magical operations by doing operations, doing the magic, you kind of learn shortcuts. But it's only because you understand it so well you can make these advanced moves that shorten your process and you become more efficient. So this cleaning process is like Zen mind. It's like being in the flow. Um, is very important to chaos magic, which people don't usually associate with this rebellious art that's sometimes branded as evil and wicked. Um, is this so? Yes, a lot of Zen will do you well, and it's because you want to interact with the rawness, the reality of the infinite, whether you call it the quantum level of reality or the Newtonian level or just the material world. um, you want to interact it, you want to see the world as it is, you want to see yourself as it is, and you want to work with magic as it is. When you put a system and a belief and a morality on it, you put a filter on it and you become your own worst enemy. Those filters, those beliefs are getting in the way of being an effective wizard, magician, mage, whatever you'd like to call yourself. um, and so you're really, really, really trying to get yourself out of the way. That's what enlightenment is. You get yourself out of the way and you have a realization of reality. You remove your filters, you clean up your psychology. So there's an accountability there that people don't realize with chaos magic. And that's that flipped energy of, it looks like one thing, but it's another. The more accountable you are, the more honest you are, the more truthful you are with yourself, and you break down those filters and you willingly subject yourself to things that will break down your ego. That's part of the magical operation of opening up that third eye and seeing reality for what it is. And when you work at it when you're really in reality with what it is, the way you act with it is like magic, because all of us are trapped in the matrix on some level, in a non-reality, in a fictitious reality. But you're moving with reality. So you might seem crazy, you might seem radical, you might seem innovative. And that's just because they don't understand how willing you are to peer into reality, life, death, you know, reality, however you define that. So, number 5 was your wizard's code. And let's see. We really already talked about it because that was kind of building. We couldn't really talk about chaos magic with this idea of morality in the way. We have the Wiccan Reed, harm none, or we have like in healing arts, ask permission first. Um, you know, or the law of karma. There's consequences and boomerang effect with law of attraction. Follow your heart is basically a commandment. Everything is so, or the law of one and oneness. Uh, that might not apply. You have to be brave. If that's really not your truth, then that shouldn't be part of your code. So why would you worry about it? Why would you adopt someone else's chains? So I really think religion is chains. You're like an unlimited potential. You're a powerful being. You'll never realize that when you have all this moral stuff that's been put on you from society, from whatever, from anything outside of you. So, 6 is you're in opposition to everything, you're inverted to everything. And this is actually the way of the shaman. Uh, because you see reality as it is, and we're so backwards from reality, it then looks like you're out of your backwards when really the world's backwards. So if you do your operations backwards, you're doing things right. So it's working with this reversal energy. Um, and so because so like if you're going to be like a chaos Christian, it means you don't need to pray to have connection with God. You can just have a connection with God. You don't need to obey the rules. It doesn't mean you're gonna like go against them, but they may not exactly apply to you. You have to know yourself so well. Like the sacrament is something I don't need to take. Why? Because I'm accountable and I actually apologize to people and I go through the amendment process. Therefore, I do not take the sacrament. I do not traditionally pray the way I used to pray. Why? Because I'm connecting with source energy every day through my meditation and my energy work. Me knowing that's my way of connecting, I don't need to pray the way other people pray. So I'm breaking two rules from their perspective. But from my perspective, I'm more than obeying those rules. I have a stronger connection with God's source energy, whatever you'd like to call it, that goes beyond words. And I'm accountable. So I'm clearing my own slate. I'm not codependent on a sacrament to do the work for me. I'm taking responsibility. So I feel like I'm closer to God than someone who is religious. Whoa. Yeah. So you don't have to give up your religion. It's just custom tailored to you and your advancement. So number 7 is like you're a creator. So bottom line with chaos magic is every artist paints differently. We could all be in a watercolor class. Based upon our knowledge and skill and how we understand the paint, our medium, our tools, and our environment and where we're at, our piece of art is going to look different moment to moment as we evolve. And you can't really judge and say this is good art and this is bad art. And then at the exact same time, yes, you can. Because if the piece of art expressed what the artist was actually trying to say and it conveyed it to the person who it was witnessing it, that's how we judge art. So someone who's not mature in art goes, art is art and that's that. We don't judge it. And you can judge the quality of the technique. You can judge the impact it had. You ask the artist, did it create the level of awe that you wanted from the witnesses? And literally, so the artist can critique. The artist knows. Was that like an exact replica of what was created in the mind, in that creative center? And if the artist says yes, then we know it was good. So in a weird way, the artist themselves is the ultimate judge. But kind of moving on, it's a co-creative experience. You with the mystery. So you need to have that freedom to pick and pull from whatever works to make it work. So it's like mixed media art, basically. And it's very creative. It doesn't matter if it was the truth. It doesn't matter if it was a lie. If the experience was created in the story and it was believable, and for a moment you had your reader scared and that was what you were going for, congratulations, your technique worked. So with your chaos magic, it's not limited to a ritual. It's brought out into your everyday life, into your relationships, how you see yourself, and ultimately you're in a relationship with the universe. So this is my take on chaos magic. And maybe you're already doing a lot of this, but maybe you also then want to concentrate and specialize for a while in chaos magic. So in chaos magic, you can totally be an atheist. You don't have to believe in anything, but you're result oriented, which I think is the ultimate paradox or conundrum or whatever you'd like to call it, enigma. But this is chaos magic. So as I adult in my magical practice, I find myself being more of an atheist and more of a chaos wizard. Just, but I only come to the full understanding of it through the practice of magic, of traditional practices. Have a good day. Like, subscribe, share, leave comments. You can always write about what you would like me to make a video about, since I played with magic and spirituality for a long time. Other than that, have a good day.